Welcome to One Life Truth Love. This is the Mechanics of Life series, and it's for genuine aspirants to truly know thyself beyond information consumption and ongoing practice, to finally live in embodied oneness, the tangible fulfillment and peace that passeth all understanding, because that's reality. This is the fourth video in our series, and you'll find articles that go deeper into the concepts that we discuss in each of these videos, and you can find them on the website, OneLifeTruthLove.com. So today, let's take a look at the most pervasive myth there has ever been, the only problem you've ever faced and could ever face, the identity crisis, misidentification. You think you're human. You may even celebrate it. You think you're a body, born at a certain time, living for a certain number of years, destined to die, and you accept this as unquestionable fact. You think you're a person with a history, a personality, a set of very specific characteristics that define and confine who you are. You're probably at the top of your game and think that loudly declaring your humanity and attempting to save humanity is the way of the enlightened. What if it's not? Because this belief, this fundamental misidentification, is the source of all suffering or wanting. The only cause, without exceptions. But here's the good news. You're not human. And when you recognize what you actually are, everything transforms. And all seeking, trying, fixing ends in the revelation of Nirvana that's here and now as I am. Heaven has always been hiding in plain sight, in the absence of misidentification. So let's explore this theological fiction called humanity. And I want to show you something that most people have never seen. The erroneous, mistaken concept of humanity that we're taught through the generations from the Bible itself, specifically from the story of Adam. Adam, the first human, was formed from dust, given life by God's breath, placed in a garden, and told not to eat from the tree of knowledge of all good and evil. We know what happened, don't we? He ate, and he fell, and from that fall, all of humanity descended. This is the story you were very likely taught, or something quite similar, and we're not here to debate the superficial details. We want to go a little bit deeper. The problem with the world is that very few there be that do look deeper, where reality is luminously obvious for all to see. Nothing less is actually worthy of you. So let's get into this. From this story of Adam, you were told, you are human. And because of Adam, you're also fallen. You are separate from God. You need redemption. This remains unquestioned. But here's what you weren't told. Adam is not an historical figure. Adam is a metaphor. Actually, the Hebrew word Adam means humanity or man. It's not a name. It's a concept pointing to something deeper. And the story of Adam is not an historical account. It's a description of misidentification. What happens when you drink from the fountain of misidentification? When you think you're something that you're not? The identity crisis. Adam represents the belief that you are a separate self, formed from matter, living in a material world, separate and distinct from God. And the fall is not an historical event. It's the moment consciousness misidentifies and thinks it's something it's not. The moment infinite awareness believes it's a finite person, that's the fall. And from that false identification, that mistake, all suffering arises. But here's the critical point. Adam was never real. Humanity, as a separate creation distinct from God, was never real. It's a theological fiction, a concept, a belief that most have fallen for. But you are not it. You are not that. So let's look at what you actually are. If you're not human, what are you? Our work at One Life, Truth, Love is to stand with those who actually look, and that's what we're going to do here. Those who put the books down, those who put their opinions down, and with exquisite honesty, being more real than they've probably ever been, simply look at what actually is. Fact. You can't fail to see if you look. It's not really a hidden mystery, it's plain and obvious for everyone and anyone to see, but few look. Reality is everyone's. It's everyone. It's not reserved for a special few. And what you'll verify through your own direct inquiry is this: you are infinite consciousness, expressing as this unique individuality, not actually a human body at all, not a person, not a separate self, but the substance of God, the omnipresent source, supply, activity, that is the only substance, consciousness. Consciousness itself appearing as this particular expression. And you can prove this for yourself. Let me be precise. What you call your body is not what you are. Your body is an idea in consciousness, a perfect, eternal idea, but an idea nonetheless. It appears within awareness. It's perceived by awareness, but it's not the awareness itself. Your thoughts are not what you are. They're not even yours. Thoughts appear within awareness. They come and go and are determined by what you think you are. But the awareness that perceives them remains. Your personality, your history, your characteristics, none of these are what you are. They're appearances within consciousness. What you are is the consciousness itself, the infinite, eternal, omnipresent awareness in which all things appear. And the consciousness is not personal. It's not yours. It's not something you possess. It's not bound up in the meat suit you call you. It's what you are. Not you as a separate individual, but you as the infinite expressing uniquely, inseparable and indivisible from all. You might like to think of it this way. The ocean expresses as waves, and each wave is unique. No two are identical, but every wave is all ocean. The wave is not separate from the ocean. The wave is the ocean, expressing as this particular form. You are the wave, God is the ocean, but you are not separate from God. You are one in God, expressing as this unique individuality, but entirely God. This is what you actually are. And when you recognize this, when you see that you are not a human trying to reach God, trying to do anything, but God expressing as this individuality, everything changes gloriously. And this is good news. The best news you could ever hear, in fact. You might be thinking, if I'm not human, what does this mean for my life? My relationships, my responsibilities? And here's what it means. You're not limited by human limitations. You're not subject to disease, decay, or even death. Because those apply to the human concept, not to what you actually are. You are not bound by lack or scarcity or insufficiency because you are infinite consciousness. And infinite consciousness is infinite supply, of course. You can pretend to be something you're not, and you'll have the experiences that match it because that's the fundamental mechanics of how life actually operates. Awareness is inevitable, simultaneous experience. Belief makes real, but it's never true. So what do you think you are? What do you believe you are? You're not separate from others because there is only one consciousness, and that one consciousness is expressing as infinite individualities. You're not trying to become something. You already are the infinite, eternal, perfect consciousness, the one self. This doesn't mean you disappear. It doesn't mean you stop functioning in what we call the world. It doesn't mean you abandon responsibility in any way. It means you stop identifying as the human body you've mistakenly believed yourself to be. You stop believing you are a separate self. You stop operating from the false premise of human limitation. And when you do, your experience shifts completely. Not because circumstances change, but because you recognize what you actually are. And what you are is infinite, eternal, perfect, untouched by anything that appears within it, actually. So when context is corrected, experience matches. Perfect consciousness is the context of real life, reality. God is all. Experience simply inevitably aligns in reality. Anything unwanted is impossible. Just a dream of being something you're not, you're now awake from. This is the good news. You are not human. You are already inviolably one in God, one in consciousness. Unapologetically spirit, we might say. And the invitation is always, don't take anyone's word for it. Nothing but direct recognition will ever actually satisfy. We're not here to accumulate information. So let's verify this directly. Rest back as awareness. This is the critical step. You're very clear about what you're aware of. The work of reality, of genuine spiritual awakening, is establishing what's actually aware, the constants, what actually is timeless and changeless here and now that has entirely escaped my attention, and it does for most, because they remain distracted by the movement, not still enough to see clearly, and forever misidentified and lacking context. Now, try to find the human you think you are, not the body, not the thoughts, not the personality. These are all things arising in awareness. What's looking? Look for the actual human self you believe you are. Where is it? Can you locate it? Can you point to it? Can you find it anywhere? No, you can't because it's not there. What you find instead, with consistency, if it's not obvious immediately, is just awareness, infinite, eternal, omnipresent awareness. And this awareness is what you are. Not a human with awareness, but awareness itself, appearing as this unique expression. You can easily distinguish between bare naked essential awareness itself and what you can be aware of. This is critical. The body appears within this awareness. Thoughts appear within it. The entire world appears within it. But the awareness itself is infinite, unbound, eternal, indivisible. This is what you are. Not human after all, not limited, not separate, but infinite consciousness, expressing as this unique individuality. And in recognizing it, we have availability to it. If this recognition is undeniable, you're ready. If you see that you're not human but infinite, then you're ready for deeper immersion. And let's be clear, readiness is essential and it's established by the choiceless choice, the definitive choice of which master you'll serve. reality or illusion. Whilst everyone wants what awakening offers, few will actually step into the absoluteness that's non-negotiable, essential. Just as Commandment 1 clearly states, all in or you're not, and there's simply no other way home apart from the straight and narrow. Recognition really is just the beginning. It's the first step in awakening, the non-negotiable, essential step of coming home to perfection as one, intangible experience, because heaven is tangible. It's available here now. Consciousness is already fully manifest, not something you bring about or achieve or attain at some future point in imaginary time and space. If you can see and are called higher, you're invited to join the One Life Truth Love Immersion program, which will provide live guidance, deepening in truth, and expanding in the greater works, what we call being about the Father's business, as well as clarification as you live from this recognition. You can find more details about our programs and events at OneLifeTruthLove.com, as well as in the book, The Mechanics of Life, for the complete explanation of how consciousness actually operates. Next Tuesday, we'll look more deeply at what is aware right now, the one thing you cannot deny. So subscribe, watch, recognize, uncompromising, perfect life is all there is. Yours to claim and tangibly, experientially know now.